You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, and exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. And now, in Disney. Ride Michelle after the storm is hot. Ride Michelle after the storm.
Yeah, where you been? You been ducked off for a minute. They don't know I've been depressed, but you know I'm in it. I never thought I was enough, so I was finished. Had to really talk to God, and I had to handle life's hard tests, hard stress, feeling a complete mess, really getting fed up. And anything they say don't matter, cause I got my bread up. I really got my faith up. Forgot the insecurities, I had to pick my head up. And all my friends gone, so I'm solo dolo. Getting through these long nights, screaming yellow, yellow. But I'm better now.
Well, welcome into After the Storm right here on the Six Screens Telenetwork. And we have got Gail and we got her sidekick Delon. And they've got a great guest coming on here tonight. So hello, girls. You're looking great. What's happening?
Well, hi
Rick.
Gail. Hi, everybody.
And make sure they can hear us. All right, there they are. They're there with us tonight. So we're looking forward to the program. So tell us what's going on tonight.
Well, I just want to, say hi, everybody. Happy Saturday. I hope everybody had an amazing week. I hope your week finished off strong and proud. You have all the way up until tomorrow. I know some of us, we say today, but tomorrow ends mine. But we do have a special guest for you all. We're super excited. A lot of you, some of you know him. He's well known. He's also somebody, just really important in our community. So we want to introduce to you all, we have Mr. Diassis that is coming in to join us as our special guest. You do not want to tune out. You want to stay here because you will find tonight's show very exciting. So yes. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Delon.
Hi, Gail.
Aren't you looking pretty?
Oh, no, that's you. You're always so gorgeous.
Thank you.
You guys, I tell Gail all the time. I tell Rick, anybody, I could just stare at her all the time. She's my friend. So I'm always I just get to stare at her all the time. She's so beautiful. I just love her to death. She gets shy when I tell her that, but she is.
Yeah. Well, we're so excited to have Diassis as our guest tonight. A lot of you may know him, but I wanted to have him on because there are a lot new people coming in and tuning into the Six Screens that may not know him. Or you may see his videos and you wonder what's his story, and you try to scroll through and dig through the YouTube channel. You may not find the story. So I thought it would be a good idea to bring him on and let's get to know him a little bit better. There he is, Diassis.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. We're doing good. Thank you for taking the time out on this late Saturday night to join us. We really appreciate your time. How's it going?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I couldn't think of anything better to do on a Saturday night than to try to help a lot of our brothers and sisters.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. So let's get to know you a little better. Can you tell us some of your background?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm originally from Florida, and I did not grow up a witness. My grandmother was a very strong in the truth pioneer, and she used to always talk to me, about the resurrection hope, especially after my grandfather died. She would talk to me about that a lot. And so I always had a desire to serve a higher power. I always felt, that it was a gift of life, to be alive. And I felt indebted to whatever creator gave me the ability to enjoy life. Now, obviously, my beliefs today are a lot different than that, but it got me thinking after my grandfather died and she would tell me about this resurrection. Man, I would really love to be able to see him one day and thank our creator for the ability to live with him forever in a paradise. So that really appealed to me, especially being able to give back my gratitude, you know, for the world that we live in, because as bad as the world can be, I mean, there's a lot of beauty in it. You have a lot of scenery, you know,
Yeah.
mountains, beaches, music, creativity, intellect.
Right.
So there's a lot in this world that I think is beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So about how old were you when you started to take an interest in
Yeah,
the
so
truth, as we called it?
right. So, you know, I always had it in the back of my head growing up. My grandfather died when I was 11, and I didn't really take to it until I would say I was about 16. I would say maybe 15 or 16. Now, this is going back to 1998. Around the time I was 15, I said, you know, I'm going to do this. I'm really going to do this. But I really didn't get serious about it until I was 17,
Okay.
16, 17. I said, you know, I'm going to get baptized and I want to be a Jehovah's Witness. I want to serve Jehovah. I want to serve my God, you know, that gave me all these things.
Right. Right.
So I got baptized at 19, and I got baptized at 19, October of 2002 at 19 years old. And that was at the Plant City Assembly Hall in the Tampa area, Florida.
Okay. So did you know what you were getting yourself into when you got baptized?
I don't think any of us had a clue what we were getting ourselves into.
Right. Like that vow, we didn't realize we were taking this vow, because when you fast forward, and you realize what it is, and you know, they'll tell you, well, you knew what you were getting yourself into, or you knew better than that. So that's why I was asking you that. But so fast forward a little bit, you were 19 when you got baptized. How active were you as a JW? Like, did you become a ministerial servant? Did you hold a mic? Were you reading?
Here's the interesting thing about it. So I didn't really get a lot of privileges. You know, I was a fairly different thinker. Even then, you know, I was really into art and creativity. I was very into independent thinking. And because I thought outside of the box and I was very rebellious, they didn't really feel comfortable, I think, assigning me a lot of privileges.
Wow.
But,
Okay.
right, you know, so I did get treated, I would even say second class, to be honest. I always got treated second class, even as a Jehovah's Witness, very second class. But when I was in, I was in. I was telling my girlfriend earlier, you know, because we were talking about the show earlier and all that. I said, you know, when I was a witness, I was a witness. I didn't like the ones that lived the double life. You know, I hated them. I couldn't stand them. You know, I was very to this, and I always thought to myself and had the mentality, you know, all Jehovah asks back is our obedience. And you guys are out here living a double life. I mean, the least you could do is have a little gratitude and respect. So even though I didn't have a lot of privileges and I was very rough around the edges, I was still very, very, very passionate about being a Jehovah's Witness when I was one.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, when I was in, I was in.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of people, you know, they're elders or ministerial servants. We hear from them all the time. So I didn't know that about you. So thanks for sharing. So at what point did you start waking up, becoming aware of what you're in?
So 2018 was when I started to wake up.
Really? Okay.
And it was after I got denied reinstatement for the second time. So, you know, what happened was I was really, and you know, here's the crazy thing. When I was trying to get reinstated, especially the second time around in 2018, I wasn't doing anything unscriptural. I was married and I was faithful to my wife at the time. You know, I wasn't behaving in any kind of a way that would be bad. You know, I didn't smoke, I didn't drink. I mean, I vape now, as you can see, but I wasn't doing any of that. And I put in my reinstatement letter, and they denied it the second time. And so I sat back there with the elders, and the elders, it was 3 of them, you know, judicial committee. And they said, you know, we don't feel like you're ready to come back. And I said, you know, why? I mean, I'm studying, I'm coming to the meetings. They said, well, you know, we really feel like you're not being obedient to Jehovah. And we kind of feel like you have a rebellious spirit about you. I said, okay, why is that? Facial hair. This little bit of 5 o'clock shadow that I wear got me denied reinstatement. And so at that point, you know, I told my wife at the time, I said, something is not right with this. I said, you know, the Jews had beards. Jesus had a beard.
That's right.
You know, if Jesus existed, you know, whatever you believe, he had a beard because they were told not to, you know, cut the extremity of their beard and all that. And I thought to myself, something is not right. This is not scriptural, that these men that look like salesmen, you know, are trying to arbitrarily make everyone be clean cut. I said, that can't be right. I said, I know decent people with beards, and beards are coming back, and they're in vogue now, and they're worn by very decent men and bad men alike. So I couldn't figure out why that disqualified me.
Wow.
And that's when I started to wake up. So what happened was, and, you know, anybody who has looked at quote unquote apostate literature, and anybody who has walked away from this organization knows the feeling that I got when I say that I was literally praying for forgiveness and feeling like I was going to be destroyed the first time I started researching and looking at videos about what the Jehovah's Witnesses are like from the outside view. And it terrified me. You know, and I struggled with a lot of guilt because of that, but I just prayed for forgiveness. And I said, Jehovah, you know that I'm a truth seeker, and you know that I'm looking this up for the sole purpose of trying to determine the actual truth here, because something is not right. You know, you created men to have beards. Jesus had a beard. So why is it now that no one in the organization can have a beard, or at the very least, it's extremely, extremely discouraged, and you're even looked at in a bad light. You get treated differently, and you get discriminated against if you have any kind of facial hair at the Kingdom Hall. And so I looked at XJW Critical Thinker, and he had a very good video on how he was a formal Bethelite, and he gave his experience, and he talked about how he left the organization strictly for doctrinal reasons. And I looked at him. I looked at a lot of Lloyd Evans or John Cedars at the Times videos, and then of course, you know, my friend and colleague John, who had the channel XJW Analyzer at the time, and I was blown away. At that point, you know, a light bulb went off. But even then, I still tried to study the Bible on my own. And the one thing that made me stop, I started reading the Bible from front to back. I said, I'm going to read the whole Bible. I'm going to learn about God, because I thought that the God of the Bible at the time was the only God. I said, I'm going to learn from the Bible what he actually says, not what man says he's saying. And so I started reading the Bible, and I think around 2 Samuel is when I closed that book forever. I closed the book because I stumbled on the story of, you know, God, Jehovah, Yahweh, whatever you want to call him, supposedly telling the Israelites to go out and kill the Amalekites, but not to stop at the Amalekites, to, you know, kill their women, their children, and their infants. And after that, I closed the book, I closed the Bible, and I have not been a follower of the Bible ever since. And that's what woke me up.
That's what woke you up. So you got rejected for the beard. You weren't approved to be reinstated. Thankfully now, right? Looking back, but at the time, did you go through feelings of rejection, and is that what led you to reading the Bible?
Yeah, and I really wanted to still, even then, I said, God, whoever you are, I am still devoted to you. And it was crushing. It really was. I mean, because anyone that's ever been in this organization for a length of time, especially if you're a devoted member, knows that basically being denied reinstatement by the elders is almost, it's not quite, but it almost feels like a death sentence.
Yeah.
And so that guilt, that guilt can be crushing.
Yes.
And so I guess my way of overcoming that guilt was to try to personally seek a relationship with God, because I thought to myself, if God is so powerful, he knows my heart and he knows that I'm trying to have a relationship with him. And that helped. That did help a little bit at the time.
Mm-hmm. And it's almost like, how can these men override what you're feeling? And you're
Right.
trying to tell him, I feel like Jehovah has forgiven me. I feel close to Jehovah. But they're telling you no. And so the light bulb goes off in your head. And then what happens next?
I start to become enraged. I am infuriated that this organization, and I feel like in a lot of ways knowingly, has deceived people into throwing their whole life away for it, sacrificing their talents, their passions, their creativity, their education, all of that. And so I created Watchtower. As you can see, it's my logo in the background that you guys have seen before. And I said, I'm going to try to wake up as many people as I can, and I'm going to try to start as big of a fire that I possibly can to shake people out of this terrible, awful religion.
Wow. I can't believe that was just 4 years ago. I thought you were, because I also came out in 2018. I woke up in June of 2018. Yeah. So,
That's in 2018, huh?
yeah, a lot happened in 2018. And so I thought you had been around for a while. But it's interesting that you said, you became enraged, because I want to read you a quote from the Watchtower. It's the Watchtower, 1974, January 15th. And the article is, Can You Be True to God Yet Hide the Facts? And this quote says, when persons are in great danger from a source that they do not suspect, or are being misled by those they consider their friends, is it an unkindness to warn them? They may prefer not to believe the warning. They may even resent it. But does that free one from the moral responsibility to give that warning? I found that was ironic in their literature,
Yeah.
because they have a problem. They have a problem with what we are doing.
Exactly.
People have a problem with what we are doing. They're like, just go on with your lives. You're out, just go on with your lives. Why couldn't you do that?
Love. One word, love.
One more.
And, honestly, you know what Watchtower should do with that article? They should read it. I could not sit back and just walk away. I mean, to me, and I'm going to say this, and this might be a controversial opinion, but I don't care. I'm going to say it because this is how I feel. And if people agree with me, great. And if they don't, I don't care. I think that for someone to walk away from this organization knowing this and letting their former brothers and sisters who they claim to love stay in that, then to me, you're selfish. You're selfish. Because it's like walking out of a burning building or walking out of a burning house and your brothers and sisters are still chained to the basement.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you just let them go up in flames. And to me, that's not love.
Yeah. That's deep, Diassis. I think people who are watching that don't understand, because they're like, why? They're at it again. Why can't they just move on with their lives? They're stuck, they're bitter, they're this, they're that. You explain the way you explained it should take that apathy away, because we would sacrifice ourselves. We were sacrificing ourselves for a lie.
Mhm.
And we know how the organization feels about lying and all of that. And now we found out
It's
that
not
we were
even,
in a lie.
right, and it's not even just a lie, you know, it's even worse
Yeah.
than that. It's a
Okay.
destructive lie.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's very destructive. Um, it's also destructive how they tell their members what to think, how to behave, what to believe,
Mhm.
especially about people who have left. I don't know if you keep up with like the latest magazines. I can't read them, but sometimes I'll skim through, and now it's kind of switching gears and saying that people that have left and don't come back to the organization, disfellowshipped or don't come back, is because they're bitter, they're not humble, they lack humility, um, and they can't accept discipline. That's what they're now saying. The way they spin to get people's minds all mixed up, it's just, I don't know. Do you get discouraged? I mean, how do you keep going with all of that? Because sometimes it feels like they're winning. Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah, I do. I do. You know, you see that they have reopened the halls. People are coming back. You know, you see that they are still having a large number in their memorial attendance. And you still see that cognitive dissonance that our former brothers and sisters have. And yes, it can be discouraging. It can be very discouraging. I guess the way that I look at it and the way that I try to look at it is my mom always used to tell me a really good saying that has stuck with me. And it's helped me through a lot of rainy days. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Right.
Sometimes this war is not going to move fast. We're going to win this war. We're going to win. But maybe it's not happening as fast as we wanted it to.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think a lot of us that are really in this community and the activism work can get discouraged because sometimes it seems like it's not moving as fast as we wanted it to. But I guess I take hope in the fact that we're still winning. You know, truth prevails, especially in a society where we have the internet.
Yeah.
And Watchtower is not going to survive in the age of the internet. It will not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We just
so that's why we keep doing what we do.
right. That is why we're here every Saturday night. You know, it's past my bedtime. You could have been doing something else, but we're here. Delon, did you have
That's right.
anything you wanted to share or
Y-
ask? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, DA says I can relate. I've been disfellowshipped. I'm on my third time, third and last. First and foremost. So I can truly understand. Oh, say it again, DA says.
I said 3 times the charm.
I mean, third time. I'm telling you, third time was it for me. I mean, it took me that many times to really just to wake up and smell the coffee. Literally, I mean, it did. I'm too recent. Um, I guess I'll say I'm too recent out, so I can totally understand, what you were saying. And I'm glad that Gail asked you, do you ever get discouraged? Because one thing that we do know, individuals that are listening in that either want to come out, that's trying to get out, but that have family there, they suffer a lot from discouragement because they have that fear of, they know that they're possibly going to be alone,
Right.
if they do walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And so just by hearing you, and even just so far the beginning of your story, um, I don't know, to me it even gives me hope. I don't get discouraged a lot, at all, what does make me get discouraged is just knowing that there are people who have like one foot in, one foot out. If I could just, get both of their legs out and just, help them
Yeah.
to understand and to see this place is foul. It causes a lot of depression. It causes just so much, which I won't ramble on about it, but it causes so much, and it really does. And they do so much damage to us. And like you said, Gail said lies, and like you said, they're destructive lies. So not just a lie, but a destructive lie. And we know what the word destruct means, and destructive means. So thank you both for even bringing that out, because it's just something small, but really that's a big, small scale that sometimes we don't even think about. But just wanted to make sure I brought that out. So for those that are listening in that do want to come out, you do have a community that's here for you. So I'll go ahead and stop right there. But I did want to chime in on that part.
Yeah, but
That's
it's a
right.
lot to give up. You're giving up a lot. You're giving up your history. You're giving up your family. You're giving up your friends. And some people are not equipped to do this alone, to the point where if you are disfellowshipped, right? Or if they
Hmm.
start shunning you because they realize you believe different, the, you lose your friends, and
Yep.
people will become suicidal.
Yes.
So I want to shift gears a little bit, Diasis. um, kind of a sensitive topic here, but did you struggle with suicidal ideation?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And to anyone listening, to anyone listening out here right now, you are not alone. The guilt that you, the guilt that this organization makes you feel just for thinking on your own will make you suicidal for a long time. And I would even say for years, because I got disfellowshipped in 2014 and I felt suicidal because of it many times for years,
Mhm.
even after waking up, because now you have to deal with a new reality. And
Yeah.
the new reality is not anything that you thought it would be. It's not idealistic like it is in the organization where you look forward to a paradise if you fall in line. You know, I felt very suicidal because I felt guilty. And I had the mentality that so many of our brothers and sisters who have gotten disfellowshipped or gotten into trouble with this organization feel that what difference does it make? I'm out here now, I'm going to die at Armageddon anyway. So what difference does it make, right?
Hmm.
Yep.
I know this is something we can all relate to here. And
Oh,
that
yeah.
will make you suicidal because you think to yourself, I'm dead anyway. Jehovah hates me. He doesn't love me. He wants to
Right.
destroy me at Armageddon. So I might as well get involved in drugs and drinking and dangerous sex and anything else that just tickles my fancy at the time because my life doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So yes,
Wow.
yeah, definitely that was a struggle.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's heavy. Go ahead.
It,
I'm sorry.
remember, Gail? I mean, I've always said that, Gail. Have I not told you that several times? I mean, I've
Hmm.
mentioned that so many times about I would feel so guilty that sometimes I would even be in the shower and I'm like, God, you know, either why me or I would say, I remember one day I was at work and I remember saying to him, and this is when I was attending the hall, and I would say, I know I'm going to die at Armageddon anyway. I feel like, he didn't have favor. I didn't have his favor. So I would say that to him. I would just kind of talk to him while I was at work. And I would be like, Job, I know I'm going to, lose my life or
Yeah.
die at Armageddon, but I'm just going to die trying. But I remember
Wow.
that guilt that I would feel. Any little thing I did, I always felt like I was doing something wrong and that everybody knew. And I wasn't even doing anything, but I always felt guilty. And when I did get disfellowship one time, well, I didn't understand. Well, if I did this and had sex before marriage, even one time, well, how am I gonna? I'm no longer pure, if you will. So I'm never gonna have everlasting life now because now I've violated my body or something. I don't know. But that's how I used to really feel because they always make you feel guilty for being disfellowship. So,
Yeah.
you know, the
Once the light
guilty.
bulb came on for me, the chain started breaking off, and that
Yeah.
was one of the things that went was the guilt.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Diassis.
Nothing feels that good. Yeah, no, that is such a good feeling when you feel like you can literally take those shackles and weights off. You no longer have to feel bad about the way that the authority figures in this organization are making you feel. And you can just be yourself and you can just live your life and you can seek personal fulfillment and think your own thoughts without having to be crushed by the guilt that literally makes you want to kill yourself because you feel like even your thinking is being condemned by Jehovah.
Right. Right. And that's my driving force for what I do and why I stay in the game, not another suicide, because I was alarmed by all the suicides I was hearing about. And I'm like, not I can't be quiet because of that, right?
Right.
But I wanted to play a couple clips about
Okay.
some of you may have seen this. So let me share. It is I don't know if Rick is there, because then I'll need Rick to share.
Yeah, he's here.
He's here? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. This first clip, you're going to hear Watchtower Lawyer David Nam. He's an elder and a lawyer speaking to the Canadian Supreme Court about what disfellowshipping is and what it isn't. And it's about a minute long. And then I'm going to play the one on jw.org. And I want to see who's telling the truth. Okay, so let's play it here.
Is it muted, Gail?
You can hear it?
Oh, yeah, no, we don't hear it.
Okay, I'm sorry, you can't hear it.
We can see
No,
it.
I don't think that's any volume. I can see it, but I can't hear it.
Wow. Rick, can you hear it?
I cannot hear it. Can you hear me, Gail, right now?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, now there could be just a couple of issues
Okay.
that we have here. Do you have do you have your speakers on?
Yeah, the speakers are on.
All right. Try it one more time.
Okay.
Huh. No, we're not getting it.
Mm,
That's a shame.
it is.
Well, I'll tell you what, do you have the link? You want to send the link to me and I can put it up?
That's okay. Because I wrote down one thing he said. He said normal family relations continue with the exception of spiritual fellowship. This is what he said in court about disfellowshipping. Right? It's like somebody tell my family
Yeah.
because they missed the memo, right? So this is what was
I
said
was
in
going to say,
court.
is he a witness?
He's a lawyer. He's an elder and a lawyer, right? So then I wanted to play this video. I don't know if you can hear this one.
All right, let's try this one. Huh. No.
If it's playing from your computer, Gail, that's probably why, depending on how it's playing, that may be why we can't hear it.
Well, I think everybody is familiar with this video, right? It
Yes.
basically
Yes.
is, yeah, it basically
It's
is,
brutal.
yeah, it's a training video showing you how you should treat your disfellowshipped ones. Now, this woman's daughter is calling them because she just wanted to hear their voice, but she's glad that they were loyal to Jehovah and didn't answer the phone because that's what brought her back to the organization 15 years later. So I just wanted to show, like, why are they lying in court about it? And they do say
Right.
They do
Especially
tell
if
you
it's
lawyer. Yeah. So I just wanted to share that, like, if new people are listening online, this is what was said in court. You can Google it, look it up for yourself, free yourself from this mental bondage that we're
Absolutely.
under. So I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah, I just wanted to share those two. But if you weren't aware that people were taking their lives, know tonight. And I hope it sparks a fire in you to speak up, say something about it, do something about it, because you know deep down something is off, something is not quite right.
Yeah,
So
never underestimate your worth and the difference that you can make. And this is why I get so insulted with people who say, "Oh, well, why don't you just walk away?" It's like,
yeah,
wow, no, no.
they don't get it, especially because you knew your relationship at the time, how hard you
Hold on,
tried,
Daniel. Be right with you.
and so you start this group, you have the group
That's
on
right.
Facebook, you come out, you start making videos, you have the Watchtower group. Can you tell us a little bit about your group?
Yeah, Watching Watchtower is an activist group and community group that I created to give ex-witnesses a place to go and a safe haven.
Mm-hmm.
And I also use it to motivate activism towards the Watchtower itself.
Yeah. And every little bit helps. It's not for everybody. I do know
Mhm.
that. We've seen people come and we've seen people go, and sometimes I'm curious as to why some people stop, but I respect their decision to walk away from activism and go on with their, or so-called go on, but I also ask for that same respect in return for us doing what
That's
we
fair.
do,
Mhm.
right?
That's fair.
Right.
Yeah, because
That's a
we
fair.
can't make anybody wake up. We can't go banging on the door and say, "Hey, wake up," because that may keep them in a little bit longer. But about a year ago, yeah, the round table. Can you tell us also about the round table?
Yeah, the Roundtable was a show started by me, Jimmy Bell, and John. And it was, I mean, it was successful right out of the gate. It really was. And that was a show where we did a lot of commentary on Watchtower doctrine, some interviews, and really kind of talked about the latest and what's going on with Watchtower. And we would dissect a lot of Watchtower articles. We would talk about a lot of the contradictions in them. And it was very, very successful for the time that it ran.
Yes, it was. And we miss it. We hope to see you guys come back soon.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
speaking of
we get
doctrine,
people asking us about it all the time. I
yeah.
mean, people all the time come up to me and Jimmy, because John has since removed himself from it altogether.
Okay.
But, me and Jimmy always talk about how people are still asking us, hey, what's going on with the roundtable? Or, hey, man, I missed that show. People really, really love the show. And I feel like it really helped a lot of people wake up, because a lot of people would come to us saying, your show was one of the things that helped me wake up.
Mhm.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Good.
I know I watched every episode, if you will, so absolutely.
Yeah, I did. We'd love to see
Yeah.
it come back. So, one thing you discussed on the roundtable was the Shunning class action suit. Can you give us an update on that?
Okay. Yeah, actually I can, but it's probably not going to be exactly what you guys want to hear.
Ooh,
Okay.
okay.
So here in America, there isn't a lot of lawyers that are interested in jumping on the class action shunning lawsuit yet. because I don't think that there are a lot of laws protecting, shunning from a religion here in America yet. I would actually like to see if there was something that we could do about it. If there was a way that we could basically create enough of a fire, create enough of a spark, and one of these passionate lawyers gets on board with this. But I talked to Zalkin, Zalkin Law. He's the one that handles the cases for child sexual abuse, and he does a great job at that. But he told, me and him had a long conversation one day, and he told me there really isn't much that we can do about that. There isn't really any kind of legislation that would make it, how do I explain it? Yeah. Could prosecute them, or prosecute them, for shunning family members.
Right. Because I was wondering if international decisions set the precedent. Everybody was thinking it set the precedent. What happened, for those of you listening, was it Belgium? The judge ruled that shunning was a hate crime. And so it was very interesting the way the person went about it. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name right now, but he did it in a different way. He didn't challenge disfellowshipping. The clip that I just showed a while ago, the one that Mr. Walls, who took Watchtower to the Supreme Court, he challenged the disfellowshipping decision. In Belgium, they challenged the shunning. They said, fine, you can disfellowship, excommunicate, what have you, but just don't shun us. And the court ruled in their favor and said, yes, shunning is a hate crime. And so we were thinking that it would set like the international precedent in America, but I was wondering how that was going to work with the First Amendment, freedom of religion.
Well, you know what the thing is? Maybe it still can. That's the way I look at it. In a lot of ways, I don't take no for an answer, especially about something that's so important. And I have the hope that if we could band together and if we're passionate enough about this, I think eventually, and I really want to believe that this is true, I think eventually somebody's going to do something about this. Some kind of councilman, congressman, lawyer is going to pick up on this, because that's exactly what it is. It really is discrimination. It is somewhat of a hate crime.
Yeah,
it is. I say the same thing. There's an example I use. I can't think of it right now, but I've used it before, Gail. I just can't think of how I word it, but it's unacceptable and it should be unlawful. Gail and I, we talk about this all the time, don't we, Gail? We do. Without saying too much, we talk about it all the time. It should be, it just should be illegal.
5-step checklist using
It's not
benefit.
normal.
Yeah. Well, when you look at the doctrines, how they're changing, right? I see them targeting a different demographic, which are the young ones, right? And what I thought about today was, do any of you remember the teaching that the 144,000, that number was sealed in 1935? Does anybody remember that?
I remember.
Yes.
I
See,
do
the young.
remember. Yeah, I remember when I started studying in the late 90s, a lot of the brothers and sisters at the time did talk about how that number was already foreordained. They've already been called, and it's pretty much up to Jehovah, and he already knows. It's already a done deal, in other words.
Yes. So that the younger ones that are coming in now won't remember that teaching. Basically, the number was sealed. After anybody born after that date, there's no way they could be anointed, right? Because I thought I was anointed at age 16, and I told my parents, like, I feel like I should be partaking of the emblems. A few years later, the way Watchtower combats that, recently, because we saw that number go down. Every year you get the yearbook, you want to see how
Right.
many people
Yeah.
partook, right? That was the
It's
first
like
thing we
we're
First thing
looked
getting
you want to
at.
close. We're
do.
getting
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, because as the number comes down, we're getting
Yep.
closer to Armageddon, close to the new
That's right.
system,
Yeah.
right? Then recently, the number start like in 2015, the number starts going back up. And what does Watchtower say? Oh, those people think too highly of themselves, or they have a mental disorder that makes them believe they have a heavenly calling, right? So, maybe if we start talking about the older doctrines a little more, like how you guys do on the round table, that would spark people to say, you know what? let me do my let me do my research. And you can find it all in their literature. You don't even have to go outside. It's all in their literature.
Well, 1975 was a big one for me.
Really.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I started looking up a lot of videos on that, especially ones that cited actual Watchtower articles and recorded actual, district talks that were given about that, in that time period, what, late 60s, early 70s, I was blown away. I mean, that further cemented my exit from this organization. I mean, that was like, man, I'm so glad to be out of that.
Yeah. And then it was, um this generation, will never die, will never pass away. And then we get
Yeah.
to
14,
2014
yeah.
and they're celebrating 100 years of Watchtower.
Right.
you know this
Of taking our
generation.
money.
And then after that they had to come up with something new, the overlapping generation. So just pay attention to that. If you're listening, I know Watchtower has told you apostates, which I don't accept that label, by the way. Apostates are bitter, they're deceitful, they're workers of Satan. We're not. We care about you.
That's
We have
right.
seen the light. We figured out we were in a dark place. We have seen the light, and we just want to share it with you. Whether you accept it or not, that's up to you.
I always try to tell witnesses, we're not your enemy. I am not
Mhm.
your enemy.
Right.
We are the
Right.
ones who believe that we are trying to liberate you from your enemy.
Wow.
We don't have a problem with the rank and files. We have a problem with the authority figures and the governing body who we believe are willfully deceiving you. We're not your enemy.
Hmm. Yes,
Right.
that is very true. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
that's what we wanted to talk about a little bit, just to get to know you a little more. Hopefully, having it in this setting, people will know. They will go to your YouTube channel, join the group, get a little encouragement. The Watchtower, you can ask questions in there, and somebody will help you. But um, Delon, do you have anything else? Diassis, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I'll add to that real quick too. That's one thing I've always had an issue with, like the 144,000. I've just never
Hmm.
believed what they were saying, the 144,000 were, or what they still say, I guess what they still say. I'm not even for sure what they still say about it. And as Diasa said, we're not here. We're not against you. We're actually here, to help you. Whether you stay in or you go out. But either way, we are here to help you because we do all have one common thing. Um, we all have one thing in common, and it's what this organization, um, I guess I'll say the trauma, that it causes to each and every one of us. And maybe some have had less, I'll say less worse experience than maybe some,
Hmm.
and maybe some of our experiences are much worse. But I feel like those of us, it just kind of reminds me of parenting. We teach our children when they go to school, to be nice and to be kind and to play with the other kids. But, when you go to the Kingdom Hall, you're actually taught just the opposite.
That's right.
You're taught, and not only are you taught just the opposite, so they don't want you to be a part of the world. So they say. But then when someone on the inside is baptized and get this fellowship, now you don't talk to someone, one of your very own, because now they become not one of your very own, but you can talk to your neighbors and go to their little crawfish boil next door so that they can come and study with you later. But you have girlfriend and boyfriend living together having sex next door, but I can go to go to their crawfish boil, or a family member that's not one of Jehovah. What is the difference? What's the difference
Right.
between them and myself?
Yeah.
And what's so loving about that? I'm sorry, but that's not love. It's not even respectful.
Right.
So if they teach love and if they teach respect, then why do they go against?
Absolutely.
You froze up.
Hey, we've got Delon and Gail and Diassis. We have got some people that want to speak to you, want to
Yes.
telephone line.
Yeah.
So why don't
Well,
why
yeah, let's go ahead and open it up.
let's bring some
Hmm.
in. I would like to say hello to Diassis and let him know what you think. You heard his interview tonight. What do you think? Have you seen him on the round table? Let him know. Say hello to Diassis. Go ahead. You're on with us.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm totally amazed, sister, by the person that you're interviewing is because when I was researching, when I was struggling with my questions and I couldn't find answers, I was working on a job that took me out of town and to San Francisco. I was staying in the hotel every night, and that's when I first ordered Crisis of Conscience by Raymond Franz, because I knew it was safe to come to my hotel. It wouldn't go to my wife, or my wife wouldn't see it at the time. But I was struggling with just the way I felt something wasn't right, and I couldn't put my fingers on it. And there was a time that I contemplated suicide, and I was just like, I felt like I was betraying God. I felt like I was betraying my family. I didn't understand, because we were always taught that if you have doubts, where do they come from? It's Satan. So I thought, how can I be that bad? How could I allow those thoughts to come into my mind? But I didn't have a peace. There was just something in my spirit that told me something's not right. And once I read Raymond Franz's book, and I was doing my own research on top of that, once you realize you've been duped, it's like, what do you do with it? You share with your family, and my family was, my parents were shunning me, and I felt lost. And I kid you not, I was in a hotel room working out of town, and I just was going to take my life.
Wow.
And something popped in my head about a scripture, which sounds crazy, but it was when Christ was speaking, he said something about, you are now a free people. Don't allow your yoke to become enslaved again.
Yeah,
And
I remember that.
that popped in my head. And I thought, what the heck? So I wanted to go and read that and then see exactly what it was talking about. Well, I went to Google on my computer, because I didn't have a Bible with me, and it took me to the 6 screens.
Wow.
I don't know how and why. I mean, but it was, when I Googled it, it popped up a phone number. That was my first night of calling into the 6 screens.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I realized at that point I was not alone. I wasn't crazy.
Nice.
It was the first night that I spoke up and I cried because, and I'm still emotional today over it, because you go through a journey and sometimes you feel like you're all alone.
Yeah.
You feel like, am I the only one that feels like something's not right? When I got on there and I listened to people's stories, their testimonies, it's like, oh my God, they think the way that I do. You know, I'm
Right.
not alone.
Right.
That call saved my life.
Wow.
Because to bear disappointing my parents, my wife, it was truly an eye opener. So I will always give kudos to Rick for what he does. He probably doesn't know how many lives are being saved, because when people can get on here and hear like what you guys are talking about tonight, they realize they're not alone. They're not crazy. It's where you have to trust. And I'm going to share something real quick. This is what helped me. I looked into the mirror one day at myself and I took back my power.
Amen.
I reclaimed my identity. Because as a Jehovah's Witness, you have no identity other than you're a Jehovah's Witness. You don't know yourself outside that. So when you're leaving, the quickest way to get through all of this BS that we've been through in the brainwashing, reclaim your identity, take back your power. Use your birth name. And that's what I did. And I did it over. It doesn't happen overnight, but I'm saying I did it over and over again. And then you go through all the emotions you go through. But it's at the end of the day, you realize the spirit inside of you, it's unconditional love. That's something we were never taught. Our love was based on condition.
Yes, it was.
It's unconditional love. That's where you rise. That's where you thrive. And that's how you help others, is when you can forgive. You don't forget, but you forgive. And you let that love shine from your spirit to one another. That's how you rise above. That's how you walk away. We're not victims. We're just experienced things. You don't want to play the victim, because victim is a lower energy. You want to rise above that and say, you know what? You taught me a lesson. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm going to be a better person because of what I've experienced. Let love carry you and heal others along the way. That's the beautiful journey that we have in this life. Anyway, I'll shut up now.
Well,
thank you for sharing. And how long ago was this that you made your first phone call to the Six Screens?
Oh my God, what's it been, Rick? Has it been 10 years?
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'd say it was around. I'd say it was probably around 2016, so somewhere around there. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you're still with us.
Not
We're
quite
glad you're still here.
Wow.
Well,
Mom was starting to wake up.
we got some more people. You want to speak up? Hit *6. Say hello to Diassis. Say hello to Deland. Say hello to Gail. They're on here with us tonight. Don't be a stranger. What do you think? I mean, you just heard you heard a great story on here. Diassis was willing to spill a bean, so to speak, and tell you exactly where he stands on this whole issue. And he feels a lot like Daniel too. But Diassis used a great illustration. I really, really like the illustration. He said that, by not stepping in the arena, you're letting, he mentioned that the witnesses would be in the cellar dying, really. So he's trying to help people. That's what he's trying to do with his website. That's what he's trying to do with his activism, is trying to help witnesses to get out of this organization. So he's doing good. I first came across Diassis from Jimmy Bell and watching the round table. And I'll tell you, that was one of the first YouTube videos that I really got connected to. And I said, man, these guys are great together. They really are doing a great job. And I listened intently, and I said, man, they put a lot of work into that program. And so we all miss him. I know he hears that all the time, but we really do, Diassis. We miss you.
Yeah, thank you, Rick.
Yeah, any else want to speak up? We've got still a number of people on here. Why don't you come in? Why don't you come out of the Six Screens video suite? Why don't some of you guys come in and say hello to Diassis? We've got look at I'm looking over here. We got California, we've got Nevada, we've got Illinois, Colorado. We've got I don't know where that is, but there's a good number of people on this program here tonight. That why don't you speak up? Say hello. Well, we'll just
don't be shy.
it'd be nice to get them in here. I get, we have a video suite here as well. And, only a few people, there's a whole lot of people listening to the suite, but very few of them ever pick up the telephone. That means so much to me if they would just do that. But that's what we're here for. It's a conference call.
Hey, Rick.
Yes, Daniel.
Can I give, is his name Diassis? Am I saying it right?
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Can I give my phone number to him?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fine.
Diassis, my phone number is, I guess, I don't call myself enough, I guess. My phone number is 906-251-8487. I would like to chat with you. We have similar. I loved it when you talked about facial hair.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Once I got reinstated, I grew a goatee, right? And it wasn't to be rebellious. It was simply, I felt like it gave me character. It wasn't about rebellion at all. And the crazy thing is, I went out. So eventually, when I got reinstated, it took me 3 years to get reinstated, which was wild and crazy. That was a whole experience that we could share at another time. But I would go out in field service, and the congregation had an issue because I had a goatee, and it was well trimmed. It wasn't something like, long or whatever. And the elders, I even went out in service with one of the elders, and
wow,
the problem with it. And later is people were bickering and having an issue is, why is he allowed to go out of the service? He's got facial hair. It literally was like that. And my dad, my own father, when he was alive, he went out of service with me, and it wasn't an issue. My dad was just like, it is what it is. He goes, me personally, I would love to grow a beard, but it could stumble somebody. And so I was like, Dad, come on. Jesus had a beard.
Yeah.
How are you
stumbled everybody?
Really, for real? And one of the elders said to me, in Alaska and different places, the elders and ministerial servants have beards. I was like, for real? They said, yeah, but it's because of the cold.
Yeah.
The winter. And I'm like, for real? So let me say it this way. So if I'm in Alaska, the Holy Spirit's with me because I have a beard.
There you go.
But if I'm in
California, that would have solved it all. I should have moved to Alaska.
Yeah, maybe you would have been reinstated in Alaska.
Anyway.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. But Diassis, this was wonderful. Thank you for sharing your time with us this late at night on Saturday night. It really meant a lot to all of us here on the six screens. We can't see the comments on the YouTube stream. That's what Delana and I realized last week. So we can't see your comments. We'll see them after. And the comments in the suite, we can't see either. But I really enjoyed this. I do have one more question for you. Who's got
Sure.
Who's got the NBA?
Who's got the NBA?
Championship, yeah.
Oh, man. All right, listen, I'm from Florida, so the Miami Heat and the Magic are always going to be number one. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the MVPs.
All right. Now you know.
Enough, you want to hear something crazy? Let me tell you this real quick. My favorite basketball player of all time is Dennis Rodman. I will say that much. Now, I'm not big into sports, but yes, he was a rebel all the way. Like if there's one player that did not care at all what people thought and just did his own thing, it was Dennis Rodman.
It was
rebel without a cause. Exactly.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. All right.
Awesome.
This was great. This was great. Thank you so much. Do you have any final thoughts or?
No, but thank you for having me on the show.
Mm-hmm. And just
Pleasure.
as a reminder, where can people find you on Facebook and YouTube? You have a YouTube channel, correct?
Yeah, I kind of need to get up with the times and jump on Instagram and all that. I'm on there, but I'm not really active on there, and same with Twitter. But you guys can find me at Diassis on Facebook. You just type in my name or Facebook/Diassis. My group is Watching Watchtower, and that's on Facebook. You just type that in the search bar, and it should pop up as the first group that's on there. Now on YouTube, you can find me also as Diassis, but I'm also on a couple of other channels. So you'll see me on Is That For Real? ? Which is a show that I did. And another show, obviously the show that you guys know me from would be The Roundtable. You just look up XJW Analyzer, The Roundtable, and you can see a lot of our archive shows on there.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. This was wonderful. We appreciate your time, Diassis.
Yeah.
And like Rick says, don't be a stranger. Don't be a stranger now.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Diassis. We really appreciate you coming on, and thank you, Gail, that is, and Delana as well. And thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good. Thank you.
Take care. Have a good night, everybody.
There you go.
Bye-bye.
So we're going to discontinue this broadcast. We're going to end it here. If you want to listen in more, go to sixscreensofthewatchtower.com. Scroll down to where you see video suite or call in on the telephone line. And that'll be wonderful. Thank you very much for coming on, you guys. We're going to end the broadcast here. All right. I just want to